Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all well. Sunday morning, day of the game. Just wanted to see how everyone was and just have a little chat with everyone. Um, there's a lot been going on in the social media world, hasn't there, this week? So I thought, we'll have a chat about it all. Um, so let me say hello to everyone. Let's see this morning. It said hello. So you got my Namit Dellen saying hi. Good morning, my Namit. Just a harmless potato saying morning all. Rob Belcher, good to see you, sir. Says good morning to all my fellow LTL cockroach, most calm and friendly people in our toxic community. Good morning, Carl Simpson. Good morning, how's everyone in the chat? Smash it, like and subscribe. Big John, morning all. MOT, marching on together. Morning, Jose from Mr. Shear. Good morning, good evening to you, David. I hope you are well. Graham, morning, Jose, my friend. Good morning, Graham. I hope you're well as well, sir. We have Jamie. Hello, Jamie. How are you, mate? I hope you are well too, buddy. Carl saying, can we just pretend we're not in today? And we have Shemtam. Shemtam. Hey, Jose, I hope you're doing well, mate. Very anxious about the game and whether the cyber world will turn into if we lose badly again. And then you've got uh, Stewie from the disabled team saying, big up, Jose, and good luck, Tottenham. Look, I just wanted to have a chat. I mean, I've seen everything that's come out on X. I've seen a lot of shows. Um, I've seen a lot of shows, and I've commented on the shows, and I've also listened to what other people have had to say, and some of the things that I'm seeing and hearing. I'm just thinking to myself, really, and so I just wanted to throw my two pence worth in there. We've had a lot of comments from the community, and we've seen a lot of stuff on um, X about players, squad. Um, I mean, yesterday it was frenzied. It was just like what players Tottenham are looking to or are prepared to release, what players prepared to receive offers from on and from. Um, People saying that Ange has finally come out and shown his colours and stuff like that. And I'm seeing a load of things, and I'm thinking to myself, well, if I roll it back, right, to me, the whole process started the minute Ange walked through the door. So the minute Ange walked through the door last summer, um, he would have had. I don't know whether he would have had time beforehand because we knew he was coming. And no, well, we did. Well, we did and we didn't. Ange was signed after Celtic finished their season, finished their cup final. Rumours had started a few weeks beforehand that Ange was coming. So possibly did they speak to Ange beforehand? Before then, weeks before then, months before then, was Ange already spoken to? And if he was, then obviously we've gone out and we've ended up buying players last summer. Ange just said for the main, Ange just said that, or the players have said even as well that they spoke to Ange, they like what Ange had to say, and they've signed. So therefore, these players you'd like to think have spoken to Ange, Ange has spoken to them, they're his players. Then again, what then happens is the summer window closes. And I've always maintained this, and I've said it from day one. The minute that summer window closed last season, that's when the work started in identifying the players that we need or that we would possibly need in every position. We would have identified players for this summer. Yeah, obviously some players in the meantime along the way, some players have left us since the close of the window in the summer. So your Dyers, your Llorises, and some of the other players have gone. And we've got players go out on loan, right? So therefore, the squad then gets picked. So therefore, you're identifying players that you're going to need for every position. because you need to see how the season rolls in order to find out who's going to be worthy of a position next year, who fits the system, who can play the way that he wants to play, right? And then this summer you make your moves. But you would have started this process last summer. That's when the process would have started, right? So, with that being said, we've now got a team of Langer, uh, McDermott, I think he is. You've also got Paratici in the background, all the other scouts as well, all doing their work. Their work started last summer. These people just not sitting on their thumbs and waiting for this summer to come. These people have started their work already. And obviously, they would be speaking to Ange as well, right, throughout the season. They're not spoken to Ange at all season, and now all of a sudden we'll speak to Ange now. No, this has been happening throughout the whole season. And I think this is the point that a lot of people are missing is that this process has been going on all season. And with that being said, on Twitter yesterday, I saw all the players that I can't remember Matt Law and there was a few, but a few tier one journos were saying that this has been coming out of Tottenham, blah blah blah, and it's been gathering pace everywhere. And the thing that made me laugh is all the players that Tottenham are willing to listen to offers for, if people have got X, because I don't. Let's be honest, I don't use X to do anything other than for people to contact me about the show, and sometimes I put the show out on X to say that I'm out there, but I don't engage in conversations and back and forth on X because yeah, a lot of people know that X is quite toxic down there, and I don't want to get myself involved in all that. So basically, looking at the X yesterday, what made me laugh is that all these players that we were rumoured to that we know would accept bids for and all that, not one of the comments that I saw on X included the players that we've currently got out on loan. It was all players that are in the squad at the moment, and then I'm thinking to myself, well, but what about all the players that are out on loan? What, are they going to come back into our squad, or are we going to look for homes for them as well? So it was just quite interesting, and then you've got people turning around and saying at the moment, they're saying things like, yeah, Ange lost it like in the last game. And Ange did a presser the other day. But right, so for people that don't understand the pressers, every presser that any manager does has a normal section, right, that can be clipped and you can record and you can put out there straight after. And then you have the embargoed section. So it's one big, massive presser, right? But it's split into two, and they tell you when the embargoed one's going to start. So when we watch the pressers, pre-game pressers, and it's released by the good people at We Are Tottenham TV, Chris Cowan, Beanie Man Sports, and people like that get the first clips of the presser. They are allowed to put that part of the presser out straight away. The embargoed section then starts, and that cannot go out till at least 10:30 of that same evening. So, whereby the pressers tend to happen in the afternoon, we get to hear all the stuff from the pressers. The embargo doesn't come out till the evening. So, all of a sudden, the embargoed section came out yesterday, and Ange was talking about he had to change the squad, and people are not going to be there for the ride, blah blah blah. And everyone's gone in meltdown saying, yeah, the team have stopped playing for him now, blah blah blah. No, Ange has been in this process since last season. You don't just turn around at the end of the season saying, right, we're going to hit the button now. We're going to start this process now. The process would have started last summer. And I can't believe, at the end of the day, that people have different levels of thought processes. But some of the stuff I've been seeing, I'm thinking to myself, just sit down and have a think about it. And think about what you're saying. It's not reactionary to what's happening now. Everything started last summer. And I've maintained this. I've said this many times. Many times I've said this. I don't just make it up today on a whim. I've said this many shows that it all started. It all started last summer, the identification of players and that. And I've also said, and I maintain this, that the clubs, or sorry, the people that we've got behind the scenes, if they're doing their job correctly, then what they would have done is that they would have identified some players already, and throughout the course from last summer to now, they would have probably spoken to agents and said to for players that they might have on their list, you know, how's your player? How's he doing? Is your player got any thoughts of moving on? Are we are we we're interested? Is he keen? Blah blah blah. Because then what you end up doing is if you're having all these chats behind the scenes, then you can then put bids in. You put bids in for players because you know you've done all your hard work already. So you put bids in for players. It's no different to what any other club's doing. Every single club is doing this. We're no different. We're not, reinventing the wheel or anything. We're doing what everyone else is doing. Equally, by the same measure, what will also happen is that the players that we are looking to offload, they'd be given the nod, and you'd like to think that their agents are actively speaking to other clubs and trying to find them homes as well. So it's ins and outs, ins and outs. Now we know, or unless people have been living under rocks all season, we know that we have far too many players in our squad. We have more than 25 because we've got 25 in our squad. If you don't look at the under 21s that we've got, and then also we've got 6 players out on loan as well. And them 6 and 25 players we've got in the squad make 31. Some of our under 21s who don't count the squad numbers now, they will count as from next season onwards. So then they become part of a number rather than just associated because they're under 21. So our squad is massive. At the end of this season, our squad will be massive, and we need to trim that squad. And when you trim that squad, it's like you got to get players out down to the number of 25, and then beyond that in order to bring players in. So if we've got a squad of say 33 players, because 2 of the under 21s become squad numbers next year, plus the 25 we've got now, 6 out on loan, that takes us to 33 players. Now, just to get to your 25, you need to get rid of 8, or you've got 8 that you can't register in the squad. And then after that, beyond the 25 going downwards, you've got to get rid of some players in order to bring some players in to make up your 25 again. So there's going to be a lot of movement. There's got to be a lot of work done. Now, unlike other seasons, and I will say this, unlike other seasons whereby we found it really difficult to get rid of players, um, with having a settled team in the sense of your Langers, McDermott's, Paraticis, and everyone that's working in the back room, because we've got a team already in place and established now, and they'll be established for the whole season because they were here before the summer started, so they're now established, right? It means that if they're doing their work correctly, which I hope they are, right, then it means that they will. It's not only about bringing the players in, it's about getting players out the door as well. And we've been really poor at doing that in recent seasons. Now, whether it's because we're poor doing it or whether it's because we didn't want to get rid of players, but whether it's because there was a different philosophy or a different model that we were using then, that's now changed. And you've got to get some of these players out, right? And I think that as I said, all the work has started. So when I see people talking the way they're talking at the moment, I think so. Just take it back a step, think about it, and think about what the process would be. The process is followed by every other club, and we're no different. We need to follow a process as well, but our process would have started last summer. Um, so yeah, looking at it all, I'm just like, wow. I'm thinking, so if people thought for it themselves, then maybe they wouldn't come out with some reactionary statements that they're coming out with, in the sense of, well, Ange has grown a pair now and he's saying this now. Ange would have been doing this all season. Some players would have been told, that you're not going to fit my plans. Lloris, for instance, would have been told that fairly early on. Okay, he didn't leave last summer, but he left in the January transfer window. You then have players like Mr. Dyer. Mr. Dyer, he played games this season for us. It's not that he didn't. He did get some game time this season prior to January, but he was told not going to fit in the plans, or that your playing time will be limited by the way we want to play. Whatever the conversation is, adult conversation has happened, right? And because this adult conversation has happened, then them two players have left the club. Now, you don't want to upset the squad, but some of the players would have been spoken to or have been spoken to, and will be told that they are also um, not going to be part of the plans. I did say about, I don't know, it must have been about, we had about 13 games left when I said to people that my analogy of it was that we have scripts and every player is going to be given scripts. And in them scripts, you have to audition, and your auditions are in these last 13 games of the season. Although the auditions have been taking place all season, I said this analogy when we had 13 games to go. Scripts have been given, 13 games. Sorry, you've got the auditions. Your auditions are your matches. Those people that make the cast will end up being in Tottenham's squad next season. Those that haven't made the casting will then be, pardon the pun, cast aside. And that's no different to any other club. We're doing exactly the same as any other club would do. We're acting like any other club would do. So why people still find it a surprise, I will never know. But in saying that, um, I'm looking at X. When I looked at X yesterday, as I said, what really was remarkable is that X was reporting these things, but not one of these reports mentioned any of the names of the players that we have out on loan. And I thought to myself, wow, at the end of the day, you can turn around and say that Tottenham will accept bids for X, Tottenham will accept bids for Y. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, well, it's all right accepting all these, but what is going to happen to the players that you've got out on loan? Or does X only see the players that are going out? Sorry, the players that they see themselves on X, and that all them 6 players that are on loan are all coming straight back into the squad? Because I don't think that's going to be happening. I really don't believe that's going to be happening. Um, I'm trying to look for the X as I'm on now. I'm trying to look for some of the X now that they were saying yesterday. Some of the players. Um, whilst I do have a look, it was Matt Law, wasn't it? Let me have a check Matt Law, because Matt Law, or was it Last Word on Spurs? It was Last Word on Spurs, I think. They were commenting on most of this stuff. Um, Let me have a look at them. Right, Last Word on Spurs. Right, so 22 minutes ago, they're saying Tottenham captain Song Heung-min or Heung-min Son is keen to finalise his new contract. Son has 1 year remaining on his current deal, but Spurs have an option to extend it by a further year, which they will if new terms are not agreed. They'll just extend it by a year. All right, over to you. Where are we? Right, so I don't know if this is going to surprise people, but what they were saying yesterday, or what was coming out of the club yesterday, was Manor Solomon is not considered to have a big future at Tottenham, and the club are open to selling the winger. Solomon has endured an injury-hit first season at Spurs, having played just 198 minutes of football, and that's come from Graham Bailey via the Spurs News. Paul O'Keefe has said that defender Ben Davies is amongst the players Tottenham Hotspur will accept offers for ahead of the opening of the upcoming transfer window. Dejan Kulusevski and Rodrigo Bentancur will both stay at Spurs this summer. That's been reported by Paul O'Keefe. What was the other ones? There was more here. Right, the other one was, here we go. Richarlison is amongst the players who Spurs plan to listen to offers for. Ange Postecoglou would like to sign a new out-and-out striker. As well as Richarlison, Tottenham are prepared to cash in on the likes of Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Emerson Royal. Sources insist midfielder Yves Bissouma will not be among those who will effectively be up for sale this summer, but an attractive bid for a midfielder would leave the club with a decision to make. And that's been reported by Matt Law. Um, so there's a host of players there, but not one of these reports said, not one of the reports mentioned the players that we have out on loan, which I found really funny that people all gone in and have all pigeonholed these comments, and there is no talk. No one's thought about, well, what happens to the players that are coming back? What happens to them? So yeah, it's it's really good. It's really interesting that happened. Um, Let me go back to the chat and say hello to some people because there's some more people popped in as I was being on the chat. Sorry, as I've been talking away. Um, People saying hello to each other. Jamie saying to me, "I'm all right, thanks, pal. Still City derby next season." Yeah, that was confirmed with Wednesday staying up last night, wasn't it, or yesterday? So therefore, you've got a big derby to look forward to next season. I don't know, Jamie. I don't know what's going to happen to your squad. I don't know whether you're gonna, because I know you came up, and I don't know whether you'll be able to keep the majority of your players for next season. To a bit like what Leicester have done, and to many respects what Leeds have done and what Southampton have done. They've kept most of their squad that came down from last season, which is the whole entire reason why they're first, third, and fourth in the league, because they didn't break up their squads too much, so therefore they could battle to have the opportunity to come up the following season in the Championship. So it'd be interesting to see what the plans are for Sheffield United, Jamie, and whether you're going to keep your squad together uh, long enough to challenge him for next season and come straight back up. Um, Good morning, Kate. Says good morning to Jose, and I know she said good morning. A lot of people saying hello to Kate, so good morning, Kate. I hope you're well. Um, right, you're all saying hello to each other. Carl Simpson is saying, you know what? I went with a Liverpool win, so that means 3 points today. Jamie saying my season tickets next season is so cheap than I pay this season. Yeah, I suppose if you're going to go down a league, then it will be it will be cheaper, is what I would have thought. Um, who else we got? People saying hello to each other. Here we go, Dragon D's Nuts. Good day to you, Dragon D's Nuts. Good day to all of LTL Cockerels. Good morning, Audio as well. Audio, good morning, Jose in the chat. We have Jim here as well. Good morning, Jim. I hope you're well. Morning, Jose in the chat. Hope everyone's well. I saw you in a lot of vids that were done throughout the last week, Jim, and your arm's still in a sling. I hope, although it's in a sling, I do hope that you're getting more movement, less pain, and that. And I hope that you're on the road to recovery, mate, and that you can then use your arms exactly like everybody else can. So I wish you all the best, my friend. All the best. All the best. Um, got people's honesty, context, people, 100%. All good here. I hope you're both well. Um, Audio Artisan. What's Audio Artisan? Audio Artisan says Parrot will be back in the squad together with Austin Whiteman and Skip. They will be our four academy homegrown players. If one of them goes, we'll probably keep Tanganga. Tanganga got sent off yesterday, didn't he? Towards the end of the game against Swansea. Um, Big. Oh, good morning, Drula. Drula La. Oh, she's now added the LA. Good morning, Drula La. I hope you're well. I hope you're well. Uh, Phil Coys. Hello, Phil. Big up Jose in the chat. Good morning, Phil. I hope you are well. You've got Stewie from Sableton. Big Ange is damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. If he changes the way he plays, he will be accused of not keeping his word. And if he plays the same way, people will say why he hasn't changed it. Um, Yeah, I can come back to that. Big job, 23 in the house, which is actually more now, and only 15 likes. I don't know what the likes are, but yeah, it is what it is. Um, Good morning, Dan, the Hotspur Hood, saying good morning to everyone. Good morning, Dan. I hope you're well. Hope you're well. Good morning. Sorry, good evening, Peter. Are you working today, Peter, or are you off today? Um, if- are you going to be watching the game or are you going to be listening in? Because I know that you work as a paramedic. A great job serving the community. So well done to you, Peter. Um, Wayne Bonner. Good morning, Jose. Anyone in the chat? Hope you're well. Hope you're well, Wayne, as well. Adrian Chia. Good morning, Adrian. I hope you are well. Oh, sorry, good evening to you. I think it might be Adrian. I hope you are well. Problem is that Levy is a dodgy producer that has a casting couch in his office. True, true. Have we got anyone else in here that I need to say hello to before we carry on? Um, Good. We got Lee Stay from TV. It's good morning, Lee. Saying hello to everyone. Uh, what's Peter saying? Dula, I ate like a pig, had a nap, and now about to start a 10-hour night shift. There we go. So Peter is working tonight, um, and he's going to try and watch if we are ramped at an ED. Right. Okay. I understand. But yeah, I hope your work goes well, Peter, and I hope you do get an opportunity um, to see the game. I mean, people, what are your thoughts? You know, at the end of the day, have you guys been following um, anything on X about what I've just spoken about? Have you spoken on other channels? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Do you think that we are naive and we've only just started this process now, last week, because of what happened in the game last week, because of Ange going on the touchline, because of Ange speaking in the presser? Do you guys think we've only started the process this week? Is that what we think as individual fans, or are people rolling with that we started this process a lot longer ago? What are your thoughts on the comments of the players that are coming out of the thoughts on the players that people have commented that we're looking to sell and for offers for? Or do you think, that the people have only talked about the squad players, but then we've got six players coming back. We've got six players coming back from their loans, and that they would probably look for homes for them as well, or for the majority of them. I mean, what are people's thoughts? Um, yeah, it's interesting because it's not just I'm giving you my thoughts, but obviously you guys have your own thoughts as well, and it'd be interesting to see what your thoughts are. Let me have a look. Go back to this and have a look here. So there we are. Right, there we go. So Graham is saying there would have been a process in place from day one, is what Graham's belief is. Uh, that made me laugh. X's should be left in the post. Mm. And then obviously, as well, without talking about that, we have a game today. We have a game. We have a game today. Um, right, just before we go into the game, Graham says, after you have outlined the enormity of the task, as I think we can agree it would take a good few more windows. Well, it does. I mean, the other thing that I've commented on people's chats in shows that I've been on is the fact that at the moment, I don't know. I'm going to spin off the top of my head here, and I'm going to say, how many players have we bought in? How many players have we bought in? And if we're going to say the range players, I think we've bought in 8 players, roughly there or thereabouts. I mean, I'll have to look it up, but I think we've bought 8 players in. Right. So let me have a look so I can get my numbers right. I don't want to be clipped for the wrong information, because that's what ends up happening. You say something and people take it out of context, and then they end up telling you you're deluded, you're wrong, blah blah blah. It happens all the time because people haven't listened, and they hear what they want to hear and take it out of context. So um, Tottenham Hotspur, um, players in. Right, here we go. So I just want to make sure that I'm right because I've been saying the figure number 8 in my comments that I've been saying. So I'm just trying to see whether I was right or wrong. I said 8. Let me have a look. My stats coming up. It's David Shear says Ange was speaking the truth when he said it was more than just set pieces. Good morning, Mark. How are you, sir? Big up, Jose. Hope you're well, fellow. Hello, Mark. I hope you're well. And Drew La says Ange has used this season to identify the dross. So a few windows, he'll get it. He'll get it where he wants. Ange said it'll take 4 summer transfer windows, not 2 or 3. If it takes 4, then it takes 4. For me, yeah, it takes 4 if you're evolving, if you're still evolving at the club. But otherwise, I'd say after this summer's window, the look of the squad compared to last season, and then to look at the squad that finished, sorry, start at the end of this transfer window, to look at the squad that we've had for this season, and then look at the squad that we had that finished last season, should be night and day. I think it's night and day at the moment anyway. But right, if I look, so you've got Brennan Johnson, James Maddison, Mickey van der Ven, Radu Dragusin, Guillermo Vicario, Alejo Veliz. Okay, 6 players. If I don't look at Ashley Phillips, Veliz, who were bought in as youngsters, so they're future players. But so there's 6 first teamers there that have been bought in. Pedro Porro and Dejan Kulusevski, they were bought in pre. Did I not include Dragusin? Yeah, sorry, and Dragusin. So that's 7. 7, right? Solomon was bought in. Okay, if I say Solomon, that's 8. 8 have been bought in. 2 have been bought in Phillips and Veliz, who were bought in as futures. And then you've got Porro and Kulusevski, who was signed pre Ange, because they'd already been with us, but we just signed them. Yeah. So if I look at that number, them players, right, I'll go back to what I said. So it's, are we saying 8 players? So 8 players in that squad were signed by Ange. Yeah. So how many players are there in a squad? So when people turn around and say, so the obvious answer is 25, yeah? So when people turn around and say, yeah, but Ange just bought the players he wanted in. Well, he hasn't. He's only had one season, so we've only had one summer, one winter transfer window. We've signed 8 players. 8 players is just under a third of the squad, unless my maths has really, really gone out the window. That's only a third of the squad. So that means that it's not what he wants and what he needs. There's going to be changes again this season, and whether we like it or not, there's a philosophy that Ange has, and he will stick to his philosophy. The tactics that he uses to get there is a different matter, but he will stick to his philosophy. And he wants players to play in a certain way, right? And if they don't play in a certain way, then they're not going to fit the mold. And if they don't train and they don't accept the way that he wants them to play, or the way that he wants to play, then these players will be moved on. Now, this summer is going to be no different. If we've got 8 players in, then it means we've still got 2/3 of the squad to change. Remember what his words were in the embargoed section. I need to change this squad. No shit, Sherlock. I mean, I could have told anyone that before he came to the club. We needed to change our squad. When we're talking about changing mentality and that, no shit, Sherlock again. The mentality does have to change. But you can only change that by changing personnel. You can't keep the same people and expect the mentality to change, because some lepers don't change their spots and they won't change for anyone. And you can't accuse certain individuals and certain players of lacking mentality, right? And then turn around and say, but then he doesn't know what he's doing. If people lack the mentality, regardless of who you are, you're going to be shifted along. And there are players that the important decisions need to be made this season. And one of them is Richarlison. Richarlison is our number 9, for all intents and purposes. And, if the fact is that they are looking for to move him on, then that's a big decision that's been made. If you have people coming in for the likes of, I'm not saying I want him to go. So before anyone starts, Jose doesn't, not saying he doesn't like him or anything, but like the comment says, if a bid came in for someone like Bissouma, then an important decision needs to be made. Are you going to keep him or do you let him go? It's an important decision. The one that sticks in my mind, and I've said this, but I've been saying this for the last couple of years, is if the Saudis make an important bid, and I'm using the Italian words important bid because Romano says important bid, and some of the people copy his lingo and say important bid. So I'm going to say for now, I'm going to stick with Romano's words. If an important bid comes in for Heung-min Son from Saudi Arabia, what are you guys saying? Are you guys taking that, or are you guys rejecting any bids from Saudi Arabia? And when I say important bid for Sonny, an important bid for Sonny at his age at the moment and seeing what the Saudis would pay for him, I'd say an important bid would be anything between 70 and 100 million. If they offered Tottenham 70 or if they offered you 70 to 100 million for Heung-min Son, what would you say, chat? What would you say? So, at the end of the day, there are some important, there are some important decisions to be made. There would be some players that you would naturally let go, but then some other players that they could bid for, and you have to seriously think to yourself, does Richarlison, I'm going to say Richarlison for the time being, does Richarlison improve you, or does he adapt to the way we play? Does he improve you over the next 2 seasons? Because that's what you've got to look at going forward. Is this player going to play the way that we need to play, and is this player going to improve us and for the next 2 years? Because you can't look at next season. You've got to look. You've got to be looking beyond. There are some players that will go next season as well, but you're looking at longer term. Will they fit? Will they play? And if they don't, then these important decisions have to be made. The same as Bissouma. Is Bissouma going to be the person that you want Basuma to be for the next 2 years? And if someone comes in and bids, I don't know, for someone like Basuma, what did we pay? Whatever we paid for him. But if someone gives you the money that you paid for Basuma and makes that bid, are you letting him go? You know, because at the end of the day, there are going to be plenty of other midfielders out there. And I'm sure that the amount of players that you identify are going to be far greater. The amount of players that you identify are going to be far greater than the amount of players that you bring in, because you can identify 300 players, but you're not bringing 300 players in. You know, um, and then you've got. Let me just go back. So you got Ange. Carl Simpson says Ange is basically saying no one is really safe, which is what I've said all along. I've said this. I said this. Oh God, I said this months ago about the scripting and about the casting, about who will be in next season, and things will change. You got to revolve the squad. You've got to change your players, and this will happen. It's just that I just think there's some tricky discussions to be had in certain players that are probably not on the radar to leave this season, possibly next season if you improve the squad again. But if offers coming from this season, what do you do? We change the manager, but these players will do the same to the next one who comes in. I'm sticking with Ange, is what Druna says. David Shear says the podcast I posted had a great insight into Ange's philosophy, Jose. The last 10 minutes, I thought it was a good watch. I think, is that what you sent to me? I think I've received something from you today on Messenger. And if that's the case, David, I might have to have a look afterwards. Dan says when he makes Ben Davis play left wing back against Saka, it makes you, or inverted wing back against Saka, makes you question things. This is adapting to certain games, and so far nothing. I hope he can adapt to the Prem. Uh, David Shear says to watch the last 10 minutes of it. Carl Simpson says he would let Son go. Dan is saying, sell Son, he's on his way down. We need to be more ruthless. 60 million and I'll take it. Audio is saying, what if Liverpool come in with a big bid for Sonny to replace Salah? Eugene, good morning, Eugene. I hope you're well. He says sell. Adrian Chia, if Paul is willing to offload Salah next season, then we should be open to letting Son go. Um, David Shear saying, I would let him go, but it would be hard. But time is now. Um, Graham says, you can love your car that has served you well for many years, but there comes a time you need to upgrade for a better one, just how life works. Drula is saying, we get attracted to players, but we need players who are going to improve us. The ones that we have don't. Cool. Yeah, it's true, it's true. Um, Eugene, that's the question he's saying. We'll leave you, let Ange do a clear out. Are you saying it's in the WhatsApp group as well? Eugene, I hope so. And I think the signs are there with some of the old brigade being let go. I think the signs are there that it is being allowed to happen. But this is not something, and Eugene, you know, you've supported the club for many, many years as well. And you know you know football and you look at other clubs. This is not something that's done overnight. To evolve your squad and build your squad, it takes a few years. But we need to start somewhere. And that starts well, you need to start somewhere. So the beginning point is you started the process. So you started doing it in the summer. Then what you need to do is you need to continue, not just stop it. Well, we've done it for one transfer window, and that's fine. No, it needs to be continual. And if it's continual, then we'll get to where we need to be. Um, Stu saying, I think I know the answer to this, Jose, but would you and Spurs fans consider cashing in on Son and using the money to buy a young quality addition? Well, I was going to come back to a comment that a few people have made uh, and I will come back to it. Right, so I think I've quite the chat. So right, so basically, what Saudi have said, right, is Saudi have said that they are going down a different route now, and they're going down because they got players in superstars, so they call it last season. They're going to go down a different route to evolve their league. They're going to go for younger players in the transfer window this time round. They're going to go for younger players, is what they've said. However, the caveat they've put on that is that they would still like to add some. They've still got room for a few older heads, right? Although they're changing their way that they're going to go for youngsters, but the few older heads they would still consider are Salah and Son. They're two of the older heads that they would consider, although they want to go and buy younger players. And let's face it, Saudi have got the money and they'll throw money at anything. And I think they were talking about last season, they were prepared to go up to 200 million for Salah. Now, I'm just saying, if Salah's the same age as Sonny, and I don't want to do a disservice to Sonny, but if you're going to pay 200 for Salah, then you'll easily pay 100 for Son. That's my thinking about it. And I'm not trying to do a disservice to Sonny because what you've got to remember is that in the Saudi league, they don't need all the South Korean supporters to go and watch their football and stuff like that. Saudis have got money to burn. They don't need, the whole of Africa supporting Salah. They don't need that money. They've got money to burn completely. Their stadiums are not big enough, you know, in Saudi pro football. Their stadiums are not as big as the stadiums that the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and all stadiums you get around the world, where you need to fill out the stadium, you need to bring in all the revenue. They've got revenue as it is. So, you know, at the end of the day, if they're still prepared to put in these crazy bids for them two players, then me personally, I would say you sell, you reinvest in the squad to make your squad better or to improve your squad going forward. Um, let's face it, if you sold someone like Son, and the other player that I was going to say is Richarlison. The Saudis, Richarlison fits the kind of money, right? Sorry, they could offer the kind of money. So if we bought Richarlison for 60 and we got 60 back from the Saudis for Richarlison, because you've got to remember, whether we like it or not, Richarlison is still Brazil's nine. He's still Brazil's number nine at the moment. So therefore, it's high profile for them. whatever you may or may not think of Richarlison, as being Brazil's number 9, he's high profile to someone like the Saudis. And if the Saudis are prepared to pay you the money that we spent in bringing Richarlison in, you're going to accept it, aren't you? So, for argument's sake, if they offered, let's say I'm going to lower the offer. Let's say they offered 80 million for Sonny and 60 million for Richarlison. That's 140 million pound with two players that you can reinvest. Now, even if you reinvested that 140 million in two players, right, 70 million each, would you get decent replacements for them both at 70 million apiece if you're allowed to spend 70 million? And that's the kind of thing that that's the kind of thing that you need to look at. I think it's a real shame, right? Look, Sonny's been a great servant for the club. He really has been a great servant for Tottenham, right? There's no getting away from it. Sonny has been a real great servant for the club. But if we're talking, as a club, if we are talking about how much money we can bring in from the fans to come and watch Sonny play, right? And we're thinking about more about the income for someone that plays, the income that can be brought in from someone that plays, as opposed to the footballing abilities on the pitch, then there's a problem. And that's what we need. That's where the tough decisions come into it. Regardless of however much money comes into the club because of Sonny, you should be looking at the ability of play football because that's the prime objective is to play football. And if we're looking on the footballing ability, then they're the tough decisions that need to be made, not how much can Sonny bring in from Asian fans. That's not what we need to look at. We need to look on the footballing side. And as I said, I'm not going to knock Son because Son's been a great servant for the club. But all good things come to an end. The only player who's a freak in this world for me is Luka Modric because Luka Modric is still a boss man midfielder at 38 years of age. He's still a boss man midfielder and he's 38. So he's a freak of nature for me and the one that's playing. I mean, if you look at Ronaldo, and there's no one near his age, Ronaldo, you look at Ronaldo and you look at Modric. Modric is still doing it for Real Madrid. Modric is still doing it for Croatia. Okay, Ronaldo gets selected for Portugal. I don't know what he's got over Portugal, but he still gets selected for Portugal. But could Ronaldo still do it in the Premiership? Nah. Could Ronaldo still do it in Spain? Nah. He's not doing nothing anywhere apart from Saudi Arabia. So for me, the only freak of nature is Luka Modric. So um, just catching up. I think. Oh right. So, yeah, like I said, it's here. Um, I think yeah. Stu says, I think the only reason Levy keeps Son is for the Asian fan base and the money they bring to the club. Is exactly what I've just said, and we shouldn't be looking at that. We should be looking at footballing abilities. Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening to Chris Lunny. Nice to see you here, sir. We've seen what can be done in the first 10 games. I don't buy into Ange's tactics being found out because we're regularly seeing players not putting effort in. Loss of confidence is BS. And then he says, Emerson, Davis, and every midfielder should be on notice. Get over sentiment, Ange won't have any. And I think that's something that's been said by a lot of people that have followed Ange before he came to Tottenham, that he shows no sentiment. Um, Disabled, sorry, Stu says, sorry, Korean fan base and the money they spend on match days. Um, Peter is saying, I've never seen a Brazilian number 9 that plays so bad. I'm not saying that. Like I said, Pete, all I'm saying is that the kudos that you get for being Brazil's number 9 is something that appeals to the Saudis. I mean, there's some players that the Saudis took over there that I'm like, really? Why? Why? You know. So when you're paying, I can't remember, Jota from Celtic, very young guy. I don't know, he's 23, 24, 25. And they bought him from Celtic and they paid what 30, 25, 30 million for him. And I'm like, why? You know, he's not worth 25 and 30 million, but they paid that kind of money for him. And he's nothing. I don't think he plays for his national team or anything. But then you've got the Brazil's number 9. He's going to carry weight in Saudi Arabia, and they would pay the money for him because he carries the weight. So um, Graham says, if a manager openly says he will bring success given the players he wants, surely that is something fans should applaud. He said he would die on a hill, so we need to back and support him. Chris Loddy saying Sonny and Richie sold if reasonable money offered. It's supposed to be a new era. There you go. Carl Simpson says we could get 180 million ish if we sold Son and Richie. Surely that's worth doing. Mark says effort for the last month or so has been shocking. Lots of players hiding, no movement off the ball in possession. Sorry to bang on about mentality is everything, and there is no excuse. The Diddler, good morning, the Diddler. How are you, sir? I hope you are well. Says Romero, my captain. The only way for me, Romero should be captain, but the only way he becomes captain is one, if Sonny leaves, or two, if Sonny becomes the club captain, like there has been in other clubs, but doesn't play every game. And then if he doesn't play every game, then Romero becomes your captain. So, yeah, David said it here. Ange has been ruthless wherever he's been. Believe it. Peter, Brazilian players have magical finesse and touch. Carl Simpson, I would take Neves back from the Saudi league. Interesting. Mia, good morning, Mia. Hello, Jose. Just got back from a walk with a doggo. Beautiful day here at the beach. Yeah, the weather seems to be. I don't know. The sun's not bright as it was earlier. I think it might have just been the cloud must have just gone over the sun. But it was lovely here yesterday. I must admit, it was quite warm down on the coast there yesterday. The Diddler, big up yourself, Jose. I will. Okay, then I'll big myself up. So the only thing that I would say about what the Saudi statements and what they've been saying is I mean, and I'm thinking, and I thought this last season as well, but I'm thinking again now. The people that are going to benefit from that statement are going to be Chelsea. Last year, the Chelsea were in trouble financially. Although, in saying that, because they had new ownership, instead of being FFP for 3 years, you get given a year's extra grace if you come under new ownership. So, regardless of that, you can't go willy nilly haywire on that, but it gives you that extra year that you're going to be judged on. So, they've been given that extra year, but when they got rid of players like Kante, um, Koulibaly, Mendy, the goalkeeper. When they got rid of all these players, they got funds in for these players, and they got more funds in from these players from Saudi than what they would have done had they sold them naturally to other clubs. So they got a get out of jail card there because they've got they've got a loophole within the team or within their someone who finances like 5% or something like that towards Chelsea's towards Todd Bowley's. There's some firm, isn't there? And they are from Saudi, and so therefore they're implicated with them and that, and it's a get out of jail free. So when I hear the statements that the Saudis are going down the route of buying younger players because they did all the heavyweight older players last season, albeit that they said there's a few that they would still consider, but their emphasis is going to be on younger players. It just lends me to think that Chelsea, because Chelsea are in trouble at the moment financially, there's two hotels or something along them lines that Chelsea have built or building or whatever near the ground that they were wanted to offset against the club to improve their financial stuff, and it hasn't been approved yet. So therefore, they're in trouble at the moment. So what's going to happen? Is my belief is the Saudis will come in because obviously Chelsea have gone down that route of buying players for extortionate amounts of money, and they bought loads. It's not like I'm looking at one, two, or three players. They bought loads of players. Put these players all on 7-year contracts and 8-year contracts, and now the ones that are not working out or the ones that they don't want, they're going to have to move on. And with that, what they're going to end up doing is I think that Saudis will come in and take some of these players off Chelsea, and it will improve Chelsea's financial. Whether it gets them completely out of a hole or not, I don't know, but it will go towards filling the hole that they've got. And I think that when they made that statement, my immediate thoughts were, bloody hell, Chelsea are going to benefit from this again because of the links that they've got with them. I hope I'm wrong because I don't think that you should be able to. I don't think you should be able to cheat your way in football. It's possibly been done for years and years and years and years. It's just people haven't been caught up with it. It may have been done years and years and years ago as well, but now the scrutiny is far heavier on clubs than what it ever has been. And if you're cheating, then something should happen to you. And I'm all for that. If you cheat, something to happen to you. If you pay X amount for this player and that player, and your wages are this and your wages are that, then so be it. But if you're cheating, then there's something wrong there. And I just don't like. I've got the smell of what Chelsea are doing is a bit of is a bit of cheating. Um, or not cool at all what they're doing. And they've got the back door with the Saudi clubs, which I'm not really. Yeah, it's not for me, to be honest. It's not for me. Um, and then what we've got is Rooty Toot. Good afternoon, Rooty Toot. I hope you're well, sir. It's been a while. Big up all. Just joined the chat and reading back. They're suggesting some might be sold, but Levy will never sell that cash cow. Hearing Biss might be up for sale though. Right, so Rooty Toot, nice to have you here, sir. Now, what I said earlier is, would you consider selling? Would we consider selling Son, or what would the chat consider selling Son? But what we should be looking is what I said is what we should be looking at is that I agree with what you're saying, Rooty Toot, because I've just said that you know, as a club, if we're looking at what Sonny can financially bring in, which is not us as people and us as fans, but if they're looking at what he financially can bring in as opposed to what he's doing on the pitch, then there's something wrong with the club. Because at the end of the day, you want to better your team. What's the point? I don't know. What's the point if you think the player's on the wane or on the decline? What's the point signing him for a further 2 seasons, right? And what benefit is it going to give you if he's not going to be playing? If he's going to carry on his way down and he's going to become a bit part player over them 2 years, then what's the point paying the big bucks on his wages to keep him on for them further 2 years, as opposed to if there's someone out there at the moment that's prepared to give you the big money for him, then take the money now. Make them ruthless, make them ruthless decisions. And as you said, Rooty, you're talking about, you're hearing about Biss. Biss was another player I said, and I also said Richarlison. Richarlison was brought in our intentions that he's going to be our centre forward for a few years, but you've got to look. They're looking at selling him, but you get a big bid for him, then you sell him. If Basuma isn't the one that I said about earlier as well, Rooty. I said if Basuma, because Basuma apparently is on the stay list at the moment, but if you get a bid in that's going to match, equal what you paid for him, if not slightly more, do you then sell him as well and invest that money into bringing other players in? Decisions will be made. The people that have followed Ange before he came to Tottenham have always said, and I've always maintained, that Ange is ruthless. Ange doesn't hang on sentiment, and he is ruthless. And if that's the case, then we should be seeing that at Tottenham as well. So let's have a look. Let's have a look and see what happens. Um, Leo, yes, good morning to you, Leo, because it's very early for you at the morning, because you're at least 6 or 7 hours behind us, and it's midday here now. A very good morning to all of you wonderful people. Jose, vamos, hermano. Hoy gana papá. Yep. So Leo's going for a win today. Um, and then you've got Rooty saying, thanks for the update, Jose. We know Spurs hangs on players for far too long. Yeah, so what I did say as well earlier, Rooty, too, it's interesting because I don't know if you've not heard what I said earlier. What I did say was that we've now got a backroom team in place now that so with Langer, McDermott, you've obviously got Paratici in there. They've got a backroom team in place that we've been poor at getting rid of players in the past. And I'm just hoping that with the team now being settled and in place, that we are equally working on players to leave the club as well as players coming in. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But they've been working on this since the last summer. So we've managed to move on two high-profile players in Lloris. only because Lloris didn't want to leave in the summer, but he ended up leaving in the winter transfer window. And obviously we moved on Eric Dyer. We need to move on a lot more people this summer. So our business is not just about the players we bring in; it's equally important the players that we can get out of the club as well. And I'm hoping that they've done their work and they started this last summer. So yeah, so I'm hoping that we are there. Spurs GCTV says, "Are you doing a predictions update?" Um, to do a predictions update, I would, right. I'll tell you what I'll do, right? Just for you people, if because the show wasn't really a predictions update, but the 6 games have been played. If you if you want to know your current score, just put hashtag I want to know, and I'll tell you. Whoever does that, I'll tell you your individual scores. I won't go for everyone's because obviously there's still 4 more games to go today. But yeah, hashtag I want to know, and I will give you your individual score. Um, there's a lot of people talking to each other here. Uh, right, David Clark. Uh, good morning, DC, or I'll say good afternoon, DC, because it's now 5 past midday here. I truly believe that Sun has years left. It's been proven in the past when the team plays well, then Sun is a huge threat. But when the team is poor, Sun is not a player who can change a game on his own. Um, Mia, I'm jealous. It's been cold here. I was okay. And then David Shears saying to Mia, what's it David Shears saying? So I don't normally get involved in other people's conversations. Mia, I would just be accused of being a naive Australian. That is that is a new fan, and I have way too much going on here at the moment. You're not naive, mate. You're not naive. You're one of the people that actually followed Ange a lot longer than we have as a Tottenham fan base. You're not. There's you and a few others that have followed this man for years and years, and you know far more and you have a far better insight into the fella than what we have. So yeah, your input is valued, David, and not only yours, but there are some other Australian guys as well, and there are some non-Australians that have followed Mr. Postecoglou well before he came to Tottenham, and you know your input is valued. Um, all right, you got Peter saying, David, do you remember what he did to Brisbane Roar players? Yeah, this is what I'm saying. These people know. David Clark, the Spurs club is a total one off. You never see 8 players being exceptional and 3 playing poor. If the team plays well, everyone shows. When it's bad team performance, everyone is bad. Um, Peter's saying that they went to the board and wanted Ange and got rid of a lot of them. The rest is history. So, yeah, so he's done the culling right. So, I'm not getting uh, the hashtags I want to know. So I'm gathering that people don't care about the scores. So that's fine. Like I said, I was only going to give the scores out if people wanted to know their own scores. What I will say is, what are people thinking? What are people thinking about today? Then, what do people think is? Uh, do, do people have any thoughts on what the lineup would be? Are there going to be any changes? Will Ange change anything? What do people think we're going to get from the game today? Is it going to be an absolute hammering? Is it going to be a tight game? Are we going to show up? Are we going to play? You know, what are people's thoughts? I mean, I know we're coming off the back of 3 defeats, but what are people's thoughts today? Are there no thoughts? Are people not um, looking out for? Yeah, people expecting nothing at all. Are people going to be watching it today? You know, it's just interesting to see where people's thoughts are. Um, and the other thing I'd say is that you have a fan base at the moment. You've got a fan base at the moment not are unhappy for one reason or another because of the performances. And then you've got all these comments coming out on X. You know, then you've got a lot of people. It depends. I suppose it really is. It really is dependent for every individual because you've all got different opinions, right? But I think in all honesty, it depends where your opinion and where you sat and where you were on the needle last summer before the season started, because that would wherever you were on the needle last summer, that would then tell you whether your needle stayed in the same place, or your needle has moved to the right, or your needle has moved to the left, but it all depends on where you as an individual sat last summer before a ball was kicked. And then because of the season, then that would tell you why you're thinking the way that you do now, because it would be where you were and where you sat at the start of the season. So Carl Simpson says, I think we'll see the team turn up today and get 3 points. Okay, so he's up for it. Carl's up for it. Uh, Graham, yeah, I've read this in a few different places as well. Rumours VDV's a doubt for Liverpool. That may balance the odds a bit. I expect goals today. If we turn up, we can get a result. So you're saying if we turn up, we can get a result. But that's like that would be the same for anyone, Graham, wouldn't it? If we turn up, we can get a result. And Dan says Ange will stick with the same way, and we will concede the goals as we do every game. Rooty Toot says Ange free at the back for a start. VD, in Romero, and Porro on the wing. Though Paul not at the top of their game, think we'll lose from set pieces again. Carl's saying, let's just get that fifth spot now. And I would say from where I thought we would be, it's tons better. Mia says, when me and my brother were saying bye, we walked the dogs together. He shouted, I hope you enjoy watching us losing. Rob Belcher says, one thing is for sure, if Salah plays, he'll turn into a prime version of Salah. David Shear says he predicted a draw and he hated doing it. Shemtam says, if we don't want to let the scum win in the title, if we don't want to let the scum win in the title, sack Ange and put Mason in charge. Job done. David Clark, my opinion, for what it's worth, if Van Dijk plays, then we lose 3-0. If he's out, I think his absence will give us a huge break, and I think we can get a 2-2 draw. Carl Simpson says VDV hasn't trained all week. Mia's saying that she'd be happy with a draw. Okay, fair enough. Come on, you Spurs, as quoting Jimbo, David Shear says. Good morning, good afternoon to you, Chris. It's now gone midday, so it's afternoon for us here, and it's afternoon for you, sir. Good morning. I wasn't going to comment, but I wanted to show my full support to David Shear, who has supported me from the get-go. So screw the naysayers, Cobber. You mean a great deal to me. Fair play to you, Chris. Fair play to you. Drula saying 3-2 win for us is my prediction, but the season is done for me. Mia saying I said 6 or 7 this season, so I'm happy if we get 5th or 6th. And this is what I'm saying. Everybody had, everyone has their own opinion of where they were at the start, before the start of the season, right? And that then tends to give weight to where you're sitting, you know, where you sit now. And as I said, everybody, it's individualistic to everybody and everybody's thoughts. So that's Mia's thoughts. Just spoke, right, here we go. So Julia said, just spoke to my aunt in Cyprus. She said she doesn't care about the results, but we need to lose to Man City, otherwise she won't be able to sleep if we give the Woolies the title. It's nice. I'm happy that you speak to your family, Drilla, because there are a lot of people in this world and families that are not tight knit, that don't speak to each other, you know, that don't say hello. So there's problems in families, you know, and it's still nice to see that you've got old school families that do still talk to each other, regardless of where they live. So yeah, plaudits to you. Well done, Drilla. So really, I'm looking and nobody wants. Graham, you put down that you wanted to know, or would I do an update? So, as I said, if you want to know what scores you're on at the moment, you just got to put hashtag I want to know, and I will give you your personal scores now of what you're on. But that's only if you want to know. Greek Cypriot families, listen to me, are always talking, even if sometimes shouting each other. Lol. Drula knows. Yeah, in where I'm from is in the northwest of Spain. My wife always used to say, are people arguing with each other? What are they arguing about? And I said, no, they're not arguing. They just shout at each other. That's the way that they talk. So we're probably the same in the northwest of Spain, Mia. They don't talk to each other. They shout at each other. But it doesn't mean they're not getting on. Um, yes, thank you very much, Mark. Have a great day or got a dash. Great show, Jose. Speak soon. Thank you, Mark. God bless you, mate. Take care and have a really good remainder of your weekend. It's a bank holiday weekend for everyone that's here in Blighty, and therefore the majority of people would be having an extra day tomorrow. The majority of people. Some people don't work. Some people do work the bank holidays because times have changed. I remember days and years gone by. Well, when I was a youngster, everything closed up on a bank holiday. So, but now everything seems to be open on bank holidays. Right, Carl Simpson is the first one who's saying hashtag I want to know. So, Mr. Simpson, so far with 6 games gone, Mr. Simpson, you have scored. Right, I need to find you, Carl Simpson. Mr. Simpson, you are currently sitting on 6 points. You're currently sitting on 6 points, Mr. Simpson. Drew Lala saying she's in her 70s. My mum's sister, bless her. I do try Jose life short. Drew La, and I applaud you for that. I'm the same as yourself. I'm the same as what Mia said. The only thing is I see some families that are broken and they don't speak to each other. And I used to get people. I used to speak to my sister, or we'd arrange to go and eat and all meet up with our families and that. And people used to say to me, "You're so lucky." And I, that you still speak to your family, and you all meet up and you have a dinner and you get-togethers and all that. And and I turned around and I used to think to myself, well, what's lucky about it? If you're in conversation and you still speak to your family, then it's easy to arrange things, you know. But if you're not in conversation and you don't keep up with your family, then things become trickier. But it's within everyone's gift to do so. But I do appreciate as well that some people have got problems and stuff like that, and therefore these things don't happen. So, you know, um, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Um, Spurs GCTV says, no worries, Jose, just wondering. He wants to know. So Spurs GCTV, I don't know what you've been doing this week, mate, but you're currently on 9 points. 9 points, Spurs GCTV, which I think was probably one of the highest so far after the first 6 games. Did someone have 10? I don't know whether someone had 10. 9? 9, that's 9 as well. That's 9 as well. I wasn't sure whether someone had 10 this week so far. It looks like 9. It looks like nines at the moment. So yeah, you've got 9 points, Graham, at the moment. So you're doing well. Carl Simpson saying better than the 3 points last week. Yeah, and there's still 4 games to go, Carl. So you're all right, aren't you? Stuart from the table team says, "How am I doing?" Not I want to know, but how am I doing? So Stu from the disabled team, you currently have 6 points. 6 points for you, Stu, at the moment. Me is saying Mediterranean families are all very similar with the family thing, all loud, crazy, but remaining close. True, 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 true. Um, Yes, Drula. Yeah, it's for everybody. So what I do, Drula, is I do a show every week where people can put predictions in, and then you score points. So if you get the absolute correct score, so say you predicted a 1-1 draw and it's a 1-1 draw, you get 3 points. You get a green, which is 3 points. If the score finishes 0-0, 2-2, 3-3, you score 1 point because you went for a draw. If it goes for a home team or away team, you score none. So Drula, if you want to take part, it's never too late. You've got you've got 4 games remaining today, Drula. If you want to take part and you want to enter for now, you still can. And the games today are Brighton versus Aston Villa, Chelsea West Ham United, Liverpool Tottenham, and Crystal Palace Man United. And you can enter them 4 predictions, and I'll put you in, Driller. You're more than welcome to enter. Everybody's welcome to enter. It's not just YouTubers, it's for everybody. Everybody that's everybody that's a subscriber to the channel can enter the predictions. So you're a subscriber, because I know you're a subscriber because I've got it on sub only at the moment. So the only people that can comment are the people on subs only. So if you want to rent a driller, you're more than welcome to do so. Just give me the scores for the 4 games that are being played: three today and 2 tomorrow. Sorry, 3 today and 1 tomorrow. Carl Simpson says I got mugged off by City getting an extra goal. You got people speaking to each other. You got Spurs GCC. Cheers, Jose. It will probably go downhill from today. Shemtam, hashtag I want to know, please. So, Shemtam, you are currently on. Let me see where Shemtam is. Here you are, Shemtam. Shemtam, you are currently on 3 points for the week so far, with 4 more games to go. So I've done you, Shemtam. And David Shear's telling you, Drew, that it's a scream doing it. Yeah, it's good fun. It's good fun. And me. So, David, do you want to know as well? Look at that. It's Big John. Big Johnny Fitz. Good afternoon, John. I hope you're well, sir. I hope you're well, and I hope life is treating you well. Nice to have you here. Nice to have you here, sir. And me. So you want to know as well, David. David Shear, you are currently on. Mr. Shear, you, sir, are on 1, 2, 3, 4. You're on 5 points, Mr. Shear. You are on 5 points at the moment, sir, this week. Yeah, you're on 5, David. You're on 5. I don't know whether the scores are getting worse and worse, Shentam. All it is that every week the games are different, aren't they? And it's just about yeah, it's quite weird because you get a couple of greens scores you 6 points, and you're up there. You've got people that get 5 oranges, and then they get 5 points because they've gone the right way at Ray, but they've not got the correct score. Drewler's entering. So Brighton to win 2-1. Chelsea versus 2, Tottenham to win 3-2, and Palace to win 2-1. Right, so bear with me a second, I'll get them in. Let me have a look. Drewler. Right, so Drewler. Let me put you in now, Drewler. Drewler's a new player, so Drewler will go in blue. In blue for a new player. And it's the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's 2-1 Brighton. So Brighton home team, yes, they are. So 2-1 Brighton. 2-2 is the next game. And then it's 2-3. And then it's 2-1. Right, Drewler, you are in for the 4 games. You are in. You in. And then what happens is on Tuesday, I'll give the update of what the results were for this week, because obviously the last game is on Monday. So we'll do a show on the Tuesday where we'll give an update. And I'm going to say next week I am not around on Friday. So I'm going to have to plan for when to do the prediction show for the next week's scores next week. And I will let people know in due course of when we're going to do it. But it won't be on Friday because I'm not around next Friday. And if people want me to continue to do this and they want them next week to count, then I'm going to have to do a show on a different day for it. And then also as well, but there are other ways, and we will tell people the ways that you can get your scores in. But next week I'm not around on Friday, so yeah, just thought I'll let people know. So are people feeling confident today? Not many people are, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, so I'm just updating this because Leo did Desmond's across the board, so I'm having to put his in now. Right, let me just save that, and if I save that, we're there. Right, that's now saved. Please save. It'd be good if you did save. Um, right. So, with that being said, give us. Can people let me know who else is playing today? Is it Chelsea West Ham? Yeah, I think it is. I think it's Chelsea versus West Ham today. I'm just looking at people's chats, what people are saying. No, no worries, Judah. Right, what's David Shear? Us Aussies will send through the lotto numbers. We get them off the Kiwis. We get them off the Kiwis. Superb. Right. So let me write Struders down. So it's 2-1. 2-0. 2-3 and 2-1. Let's do the same here. Judah, I hope you don't mind me saying this. It's really nice to see you in different YouTube channels. Oh, that's how sweet of you. Stu's a sweet man, isn't he? Stu's a sweet man. Right. So with that, I don't know. Is there anything else that people want me to discuss? I've discussed Ange. Um, I've discussed the what's been on X and stuff like that. Um, so Colin is still asleep. Yeah, Colin must still be asleep because I did ask the question yesterday. He must have gone out with his wife, which is good as well. Because I asked him to see whether a watch along was being done today or not. He's not responded back to me. We kick off in 4 hours, so I don't know whether he will do or he wants to do a watch along or not. So, all I'll say is, yeah, I watch out for the notification bell for when I'm next back on to Airtel Cockerel. Score today. I don't know, Dan. What do you what do you think the score will be today, Dan? We've all done our predictions. I've got 58 predictions at the moment in my predictions league, so we've all done our predictions for today. I don't know what you think the score is going to be today. David Sheard, yeah, Chang messaged. Yeah, Chang was on during the week, but he's messaged to see whether anything is happening today. And I've just messaged Colin, so I'm not sure whether he's doing it or not, or whether they are doing one or not. But yeah, just hit the notification bells. If there's not one on Eltel Cockerel, then what I would say is there may be other channels that will be doing them as well. I think Jesse Talks Football is covering it today. So Dan is saying for today, yeah, Jesse Talks Football. I think she's covering it today as well. But if we are going to do it, then we will put it up and hit the notification bell, and you'll see that we will be doing it. Dan from the Hotspur Hood says 3-1 to Liverpool. We'll concede from a set piece again. Dan, is your 3-1 regardless of VDV playing, or do you alternate your score whether VDV plays or not, or do you just going to keep it to a straight 3-1, mate? What are your thoughts? I mean, I don't know because I know that there's been talk that VDV won't play. Does VDV not play and improve our chances? Because I think that as as a team, I think Liverpool are blessed with some really decent centre halves. To be honest, so if VDV doesn't play, they got that youngster Kwanzaa who looks a real good player. Looks like a real good footballing centre half to me. Like can play really well with the ball at his feet and that. They got Joe Gomez. They've got Konate. So yeah, they've got some other centre halves that can play football as well. Okay, they're not Van Dykes, but they can play. So um, Nosh is what is she saying? Nosh. Nosh is something different in North London. I don't know where the Nosh bits come from, but there we go. Yeah, Nosh has got different permutations depending where you are in England. Uh, Neither here nor there. We still can't mark properly on set piece. If not, we'll get caught over the top again. Right, so it doesn't matter who's playing centre half. Your 3-1 is your score. Fair enough. I think to be right. So I've got 59 people, 58 people that do the predictions league, and out of that, you've got. Right, let me have a look at this. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right, out of 58 people, 11 people have gone for an away victory today. It's easier to count the aways and the draws because then the majority have gone Liverpool here. So you've got 11 aways. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 10, 11, 12. So you've got, did I say 9? 9 away, 9, 11 away victories. 12 have gone for draws, and the remainder, so what's that, 23, and 35 people have gone for a home win. You've got 35 people who have gone for Liverpool, 12 have gone for draws, and 11 have gone for Tottenham out of the 58 predictions that we've received. Dan saying, if VDV's out, we have no one who can handle the pace and distance he has to cover as we're so far pushed up. This is where Ange should adapt and drop 5 to 10 yards. Like I said, he's got a philosophy, Ange, but his philosophy will never change, but his tactics is what lends itself to the philosophy. So if you adapt your tactics, your philosophy doesn't have to change. You still keep the same philosophy. So it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. But people, with that, I'm going to tie it up. I'm going to call it a day on the show today, on this one, particular one. Can I thank each and every one of you that have participated in the chat and that have come in and made your comments? It's much appreciated. You're all good people. You all have different opinions, but you're all good people. And I for one, am looking forward to the game. I look forward to every game that Tottenham play. Um, I have been a lifelong supporter, and I always look forward to Tottenham. Some seasons more than others, um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to today. And today it'll be what it is. You know, at the end of the day, it's a I don't know 100 odd minute game of football, played between two sides, and the team that plays better should normally come out on top. So let's see what happens. Let's see what today brings. Um, I certainly ain't. I'm not giving up on Ange. I ain't giving up on the team. And yeah, like I said, the whole show it remains to be seen what we do in the summer. Um, but we will do bits and pieces in the summer. We will. It'll be bits and pieces out, and it'll be bits and pieces in. So with that, I'm going to say that in Ange I do trust, and I'm going to say, come on, you Spurs. And again, thank you everyone for watching. Take care and have a great Sunday.